All right, this is a test. This is just a test. Trying to, I just had morning prayer and the audio came through just terrible. So I've restarted the router. I've changed some Wi-Fi settings, not knowing if that has anything to do with it. Um, so if you're there right now with me, um, I see people coming in from Twitter. Would you mind Um, actually, I can turn on my own Twitter too, and just I can listen to myself, I suppose. Unfortunately, you guys are going to hear an echo if I do that. But if anyone wouldn't mind in the comments or the chat, let me know how this is coming through. If the quality of the audio is better than it was for morning prayer. And if you weren't part of morning prayer, can you just tell me if the quality of the audio right now is okay at all? We are mobile right now, and so that's probably a reason, but I went back and I changed some of the settings. Okay. Do you really? So it sounds noticeably better right now. Is that right? And by the way, if anybody here is a tech person, and might offer me some advice, like for example, one thing that I was doing, because I'm using a mobile router now. It's a good one. It's an expensive one, but I didn't have it plugged in, so it was just running off a battery. Now I have, and I was imagining like when I used to be a gamer and I would use my laptop and you would unplug it, everything would go just like so much slower. Like it sounded it would slow way down and almost be unusable for high tech stuff. And so now, because right now I am mobile, and so right now what I did was I went into the router and I changed the distance of the Wi-Fi itself to long, which shouldn't make a difference because everything is really close together. But I would just assume the signal would be a little stronger, and then I also plugged it in. So we'll just have to see. Oh my goodness, what a miserable! Because I listened to my own self. I'm going to do that real quick. I'm just going to, for fun, put this in here. So we'll just have to see. Oh my goodness, what a miserable! Because I listen to my own self. Oh, I'm gonna do that real quick. I'm just gonna for fun. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is um, my headset that I'm on right now has its own noise canceling. Um, and this app, it's not an app, this StreamYard platform also offers noise canceling. So I'm going to go into the audio settings right now and I'm going to turn that on and just see if that makes any difference. So there, I just turned that on. So now, if someone would let me know if this sounds better or worse than what I did literally just like 20 or 30 seconds ago. But one thing that I'm not seeing, cross my fingers right now, is um, I'm not getting the warnings that I'm having connection issues, which it was constant the last time. So if anybody has an opinion on what this sounds like right now, I would really appreciate it. Okay. Um, well, Buchanan? Dugan? Uh, were you hearing me just before this moment? I just want to know if, well, I can listen to myself for a second too. Okay, so I mean, I think I sound good, but I don't know if yes, it's more clear. You were clear before. Oh, good. Okay, so what I was originally worried about was that, and this was just in my own head, my theory was, oh, if I use the built-in noise canceling of this headset, and the noise canceling of the app, um, they will conflict with one another. But obviously, you're saying that that's not true because it's not conflicting. So that's a good thing. Oh my gosh. I wonder if just having the router plugged in and not running off a battery is just like a laptop where all of a sudden, like the full power of the router can be used. Whereas when it's on battery, it's like giving you like not as strong. Because that's all the only thing I changed was that and the distance of the Wi-Fi signal itself. But to be honest with you, the router has been sitting next to the laptop within 3 feet the whole time. So so that's the way it is. All right. Well, I tell you what, guys, thank you so much for helping me with this audio test. I hope that it's not just a fluke, and I really did, with your help, figure out how to make this better. Because I am really going to try, and I can't promise this, to get in these liturgy of the hours with you guys throughout the day, not just today, but going forward. And so, what we just did, which was so terrible, was the Office of Readings and the morning prayer in a combined format, which is really cool. I guess I didn't even look to see how long the video was. And so the next prayer will be mid morning prayer coming up in about an hour, then midday prayer, afternoon prayer, and then it just depends if I'm around at night. If we might get back together. Last night we actually finished the book of Matthew together, Mark. And so my goal was the next time that we're together to have our conversations again, our interactions and encounters, questions, whatever you want, plus starting in the book of John. And, we'll just work our way through the New Testament like that. And so there you go. The kidney and the stone, am I still sounding pretty good in your opinion this whole time? I'm kind of talking right now just to, just to see if we're sounding good. Yes. If certain things are around each other, Father, they will conflict with each other, especially if it's a speaker system. You sound good. Oh my gosh. I realized that I was really worried. I was thinking, because this router that I have is a business broadband system for mobility. And I was thinking to myself, what if I just invested in this and it won't actually work when we're not just stationary? So it appears we may have figured this out, that it needs to be plugged in and I need to have that stronger signal on the Wi-Fi turned on, which I realize it warns you this will use more battery while we're plugged in anyway. So what difference does it make? This is very good. So, all right. Well, this is kind of a weird live to have open test stream for audio. But wow, I really hope that we figured this out. And when you're on the move, it's never going to be perfect, but it can be pretty good, I hope. So, and that's part of this idea here. So, all right. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to close this. Yes, a wired connection will do wonders. Yeah, it's just not wired. I'm always on the move, constantly on the move. I'm hoping that someday my life will change and that won't be true anymore. But for now, wired connections are not really my thing. And it really took me a long time to get to a point where I had this narrowed down where I felt comfortable doing the multi-streams. And it's a great program through AT&T Business. Um, and it's only available if you're an AT. I mean, I'm sure Verizon has their own, but this particular plan it's unlimited data on a hotspot just for this kind of a thing. It is expensive. That's the problem. But like I've been telling people, eventually my goal is to have the subscription thing on X turned on and then give people other ways. And I don't mean a lot of money, but if we can even just get enough people to put $4 or $5 a month in, it'll offset this. And my goal is to really spend time with people because I have found that when you take this time, people's lives start to change. And of course, it's not me, it's the Holy Spirit. Um, so, anyways, yes, there we go. So I think this is probably a little bit better now. What I'm also doing as I'm just sitting here talking is I'm watching my screen to see if that warning pops up about just terrible signals. And for now, at least, I'm not seeing it. That's funny. I can hear my own echo. Yeah, I got Verizon. They have different frequency, I think. Gosh, what was it? Years ago. I'm thinking, my gosh, it'd be like before I've had AT&T now for over 10 years, I think. And I'm just so used to it anymore. One thing that was kind of interesting for me as I started to travel internationally more was the AT&T has this business thing again where it's called a day pass. So anywhere you are in another country, if your phone is on, it'll just charge you $10 a day, and then you can use your phone like you're here in the United States, which has been so important to me. Oh, hi. Good morning, Melissa. I'm pretty much just talking for the sake of talking right now, doing an audio check because I just had morning prayer of the Liturgy of the Hours, and it was terrible for everybody. It was all robotic. And so I'm testing my internet right now. And so if you have any opinions, Melissa, as you hear me for a little bit, and I'm only going to hang around for a little bit, but please say, Father, it sounds terrible or it sounds okay. So, and I'm also checking my router at the same time here just to see. So let's just come back to that actually. Okay, so where are we? Let's see this. Darn it, I can't see it here, can I? That's too bad. Okay, so, but the good thing is right now I'm not getting the warnings the whole time during morning prayer. You are sounding awesome. AT&T is what I used to use, but I don't know how if Rock Springs, Wyoming has it. Oh, Wyoming was one of those areas where I have to tell you, until recently, it was really rough for AT&T, and I don't know if they have a bar. Oh my gosh, that's so cool to know Rock Springs. Woo! Winter is coming, right? Um, so yeah, it used to be really rough. I can remember going through on Interstate 80 through Wyoming and leaving Cheyenne going west and pretty much not having even a voice signal until you got close to Salt Lake. And then over the years, they must have developed like partnerships because then you could have a voice signal the whole way pretty much, and unless you were on like, on top of a mountain or something on a pass. Um, but um, then over the years, they slowly I still don't think it was like a native AT&T tower. It might be by now, but the last few times I was out there, which wasn't recently, it's probably within the last 12 months or so, data started actually working. Um, no, I have not. Honestly, I have not seen I've read some commentary on it. Much for reminding me because that was something I was going to do today. No, I haven't read what just came out of Rome on that. So I have nothing I could even say. And in fact, the commentaries that I were reading, I was confused. I wasn't sure if the commentators were just like strictly reporting the news or if they were opinionated. But I was reading it last night after I had been streaming for 5 hours. So I woke up this morning not knowing, not remembering. So, well, this good news is for now, I'm not seeing those warnings. Now, last night when we were streaming for 5 hours, I did every once in a while get that warning, but right now, even I'm not seeing any of those warnings. I tell you some news that I did see while I'm just talking for the sake of talking was um okay, Word on Fire. So if you guys don't know who that is, there's a bishop, Robert Barron. Actually, he's now a bishop in Minnesota, my home state. Um, uh, he has an apostolate or a ministry called Word on Fire. It's actually a missionary organization, in my opinion. And they just received permission to publish the works of Pope Benedict the 16th. Now I don't know the full scope of that, like who, like everything, because there's already several really good biographies out of Pope Benedict the 16th, which I'm really into right now. Um, but I I think this is actually like his own writings, and so because Pope Benedict obviously he published books, oh my gosh, since right after World War II, he was already publishing. Uh, as Joseph Ratzinger, and obviously during his pontificate, he was a prolific writer. But I'm wondering if these are not like his notes they're talking about. So, and it's apparently a very big deal. And the other thing that Word on Fire just released yesterday, and by released I mean they notified us that they were given the rights to publish, was the Papal Chaplain. So, for the Pope, um, there is only one person who's allowed to preach to them, teach them in the faith, and that is the chaplain to what they call the papal household. And so, unfortunately, I can't recall his name, but I can see his face right now. And apparently, he's doing some writing, and he's been the papal chaplain for John Paul II, Benedict, and Francis. So he's been in there a long time, and he's going to be uh, published now by. Very good. I just listened to myself for a quick second. He's going to be published now by Word on Fire. So this is exciting. If you guys are into theology, um, and I did. If you're interested on my X profile yesterday, I did repost both of those announcements. Oh my gosh, guys, I think we fixed it. This doesn't mean it's always going to be perfect, the audio, but I'm so sorry about morning prayer. Oh my goodness. So obviously, having this router, I think, plugged in is going to be important, not to use the battery function on it. Oh, good. Okay, I'm gonna put this up. I used to be big into, and that doesn't mean much. I wasn't ever big on anything on X, but I used to do spaces a lot, and I don't know why I started not really liking it. I definitely didn't like doing my own spaces anymore. And and then I really slowed down. I still go into spaces now and then if I see friends, although I don't go in to participate actively very much anymore. But for some reason, this live streaming like we're doing right now, I really enjoy this. Like yesterday was 5 hours, and I was tired at the end, but to be honest with you, I was shocked when it said 5 hours. And um, what I'm hoping is that the people joining me in these lives from the different platforms, that over time you guys will get more and more comfortable interacting. And that is happening, because I remember like the first two of these we did, almost nobody said anything, and now slowly I'm starting to see um people chatting and commenting and sometimes chatting together. And so I just really like that. And I think we can build something great here, because the idea that I've always tried to have on X and now on these multiple platforms is to offer a space, and I don't mean a Twitter space, I mean just a space, where it's wholesome, you know, and where there's not a lot of anger and bitterness and arguing and everything else. And by the way, I we can start to develop content together, because like for example, I'm a scuba diver, so I would love to talk about that someday. Good morning, Mary. um I would love to talk about scuba diving sometime. uh I would like to um I would really like to talk about space. I'm a space enthusiast, like outer space and everything that goes along with that. So I think over time we could start to develop some pretty cool content together and just see where it goes. Mary, right now, what I'm doing is pretty much talking for the sake of talking. And the reason is because there's a recording, so you guys can hear it if you really want. I did morning prayer of the Liturgy of the Hours, and this was the first time I did it while we were mobile. And I had the settings all set up wrong on my router or whatever, and I had it set up wrong, and it was just terrible the whole time. And that doesn't mean this is perfect, but I can at least see that I'm not getting the warnings like I was before, constantly getting warnings about um, an unstable connection. Yeah. One thing for me, I was never afraid of scuba diving was truly a dream. And I finally got it accomplished. And now, of course, like everything else, like so many of us, I want to do it more, but I never can seem to find the proper time. And so then I just put it off and I get sad about it. But underwater is literally another world. It's exactly what I was hoping for. Oh gosh. Oh, caves and scary forests. Yes, I do like the forest part. Not a big fan of caves above ground or underwater. I just uh I never have. Hey Mary, I have a question for you, and you're always telling people where you are, so it's not like I'm doxing you. But in Hong Kong, what's the weather like? Like, are there seasons there? So do you get the different seasons, or is it tropical? Forgive my ignorance. All right, everybody. I'm going to conclude this test. Thank you to everyone who helped me get through this because I was actually quite embarrassed about our morning prayer. And so, because I am mobile, we are going to have issues even in the future, but it hopefully will not be consistent issues like what it was for the prayer just a second ago. Um, so, hopefully, I learned some valuable things about how to do this multi streaming. And because I believe this looks good, I'm going to listen to myself real quick one more time. Yeah, it's definitely a lot better than what it was just a few minutes ago. I don't think it's perfect, but because I am mobile, I don't think we're going to get to perfect. I tell you one question that I would ask, are you guys hearing a lot of at least we're not hearing the robotic stuff, right? But are you guys hearing like a lot of clicks or tick tick tick? I know sometimes noise canceling systems can do that, can have are you guys hearing any kind of like annoying sounds along with my voice? If anyone would be happy to respond, I would really appreciate it before we say goodbye. All right, perfect. All right, God bless you guys. Thank you so much for helping me with this audio test. And I will see you back probably in about 30 minutes or so for mid-morning prayer. Um, so just to let you know what my goal is going forward. My goal will be to have all or most of the Liturgy of the Hours streamed live. And so unfortunately um I can't always give you guys a lot of notice for when that's going to be. Um so one thing, I mean, if you're hanging around, you can turn your notifications on for me, and I hope like YouTube will say, "Hey, Father Chris is live." I know X will. Well, I believe X will. But that's probably a good way to join us. And then so what I did today was I did an enlarged or an expanded version of morning prayer, which includes the office of readings. So we actually did cover that first hour today, which is the office of readings, because we did the expanded version, which is really cool. And then uh will come midday prayer. Midday prayer is usually 6 to 7 minutes. Um, excuse me, mid-morning prayer is usually 6 to 7 minutes. The same for midday prayer. Afternoon, a little bit longer than that. And then evening prayer, vespers, is longer again. And then night prayer. So we'll see. We're just going to try and do the best we can. Um, because hopefully, that'll give everyone a sense of community. Coming together to pray together is always a good thing. And so, have a great day, and we'll see you shortly. Bye bye.